Hi BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I am coming to you with a weekly reads video and this is for week number 48 and it is November 22nd through the 28th. I cannot believe it. 2 more days left in November, you guys. December is next week. It's crazy. Crazy. Ready for this dumpster fire of a year to be over. Actually, no, I am really looking forward to December. It's my favorite month, and I mean, Christmas. Second favorite month. October ranks right up there as well. November's just kind of the buffer, so you don't get all the excitement all at once. At least here in Canada, because we do our Thanksgiving back in October, so we don't have that. We don't have any holidays in November. But anyway, back to the books. So I finished 4 books this week, you guys, and I'm very, very pleased with that. So I actually finished less books than I had anticipated on. And that's because I purposefully decided to change up my reading. And I am going to continue this throughout the month of December as an experiment of sorts. And guys, I'm actually legitimately excited about reading. Like really, really excited about reading. I always get excited for new books and things like that, but the actual reading part of it, I've just been kind of, over the last number of months, I haven't been in a slump. It's not that I don't think slumps are a thing. I think slumps are very much a thing, but I think that they are very, very easy to change. I think you can be not slumpy, but less interested in what you're reading or what have you. So, you know, if you're in a slump of some kind or you just don't feel like reading what you have, pick up something else. Change up the way you do things, you know? So all this being said, I did not listen to any audiobooks this week. Not one. And my plan is, and I did that on purpose. It wasn't like I didn't have an audiobook to listen to. No, I had a book that I was going to read this week on audio that I chose to say, no, I'm just not feeling. I legitimately, you guys, and I've been talking about my audiobook reading over the last few months, I think. Now, I've been a reader for as long as I can remember. I'm not someone who, because I watch a lot of BookTube and a lot of people come into reading later in life, and I think that that is fantastic. You know, whenever you come into reading is great, but I am someone who does not remember not being a reader. Since I was probably old enough to read, I've been reading, and I've always carried a book with me everywhere I've ever gone. I was that kid sitting at the kitchen table reading the back of the cereal box if I forgot my book upstairs when I was having breakfast. We go to restaurants to eat. I have distinct memories of going out to brunch on Sundays at this place around the corner here with my parents when I was like, 10, 11, 12. And I'd have a book on me and we'd be waiting for our food. And, my mom and dad would be having a conversation and I would have my nose buried in a book. So I have always been a reader. So for 40 years, I have been reading physical, and then in the last 10 plus years, ebooks. And audiobooks are relatively new for me. I didn't listen to them, like the only books you could get when I was a kid were books on tape. Then they started coming out with the ones that were on like CD. But, it's only been within the last 3 years or so that digital, like for me, that digital audiobooks have become a thing. And I really do like them. And I am not throwing any shade on anyone who does their primary reading through audiobooks. I think that's fantastic. My mother does because of reasons. And it's just easier for her to get through an audiobook than it is a print or digital book. So, but the thing is for me is what I found is I was relying so much every month with my TBRs on audiobooks. And I think I had lost the enjoyment of what reading actually means to me. And that is sitting and just reading and not doing anything else. And I think that has, just over this last week, I am excited about reading again for the first time in a long time, you guys, like a long time. I am reading through a lot of books every month. You guys know that. You watch my channel. And it's not that I'm not enjoying the books, but that spark, that excitement of picking up books again. I'm super excited. And if this works out, like if I get through the month of December and I'm still enjoying it, what will end up happening is, what I can see is that audiobooks will supplement my reading. It will not be like before, my TBRs or my wrap-ups at the end of the week, half of the books would be audio, and not anymore. I have this feeling that what's going to happen is it will go back to what they were when I first started listening to audiobooks, whereas, I would borrow one from the library, or I would, I have a bunch of them on Audible that I've purchased, that I'll pick one up and I'll slowly read through it over the course of a week. But what I've been doing this last week is I've been listening to podcasts again in the car on the way to work. Yes, I'm going back to work again. I'll get to that at the end. Little epic fail on my behalf. But anyway, we'll get to that at the end when I get to the chatty bits. This is a chatty bit, but it's book related. So I can see it being like, I'll borrow an audiobook from the library, and I have it for 3 weeks, so maybe it'll take me a week or two to finish it. Or maybe I'll save audiobook listening for those epic volumes that I want to get through. Like, I can tell you this year, I would not have been able to read through like The Witches by Stacey Schiff. What was the other one? A Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, or Jane Eyre. I don't know if I would have been able to get through those without the help of an audiobook, because those texts were very dense, and especially classics I always have a problem with. So it made it much more accessible to me, and I think that's where audiobooks are great. So yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know, because I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about picking up physical books again. Like, I have so many physical books that I'm just not picking them up, because I'll own the physical book, like I'll still find the audiobook, and I never understood, and I was doing that, guys, for the numbers. And I'll be legit with you. It's like, okay, I can finish this audiobook. If I kick it up to 2 times speed, I can finish this book in 2 days, but why? Why? For what reason? The enjoyment is gone at that point. And that's why, like, I listen to a lot. And again, please don't think I'm throwing any shade at anybody who does this. If this is what you do and it makes you happy, then you do you. But this is me, right? This is the way that I feel. And I just, I was doing it to get those, like, you feel like you have to be in BookTube reading at a certain level, I think. And my friends Bree, Chloe, and I were talking about this, and I think we're going to do a whole discussion about this later on this month, about reading for the sole enjoyment of reading. And, we joke about, do you remember what it was like to read before BookTube? Do you remember, when it would take you a week to finish a book, and that was perfectly okay? I want to get back to that. I want to get back to that, to it being simpler. So I did cancel my Audible subscription. It was due to renew on the 1st of December, so I did cancel it. I have a ton of titles in my Audible library that I haven't even listened to yet. I could probably go a good couple of years without renewing, just on the stuff I have on Audible, without renewing. Plus, my library is a plethora of audiobooks. So really, and I have Scribed as well. And I kept that, of course, because it's also ebooks. So, of course, I'll still be reading ebooks, but that's still the art of just sitting there and reading something, right? So anyway, big ramble at the beginning. I do apologize. This video is actually probably, not counting this 10-minute ramble at the beginning, a little bit shorter than a normal one, because I only have 4 books to talk about. And I have, 3 books from NetGalley? I do have some new physical books that I have purchased, but they're used, so they're new to me. But I'm going to do a video on Tuesday of a used book haul, so that's not going to be shown in this video. I have no crafting to show you guys, so this could be relatively short. So let's jump right into it. So the very first book that I finished this week, I actually started and finished this one in the same day. It was only like 150 pages, and this was I Work at a Public Library by Gina Sheridan. This was a collection of crazy stories from the stacks, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. So this we read for the Book Sisters Book Club for the month of November. It was the one that everybody voted on, and it was really cute. I mean, it was 3 stars. That's average for me. There was no real plot to this story. Like, it's literally, as it says, it's a collection of little stories. And I'm talking like little vignettes or little, paragraphs of something funny that happened to, and it's not just her. She gathered stories from different librarians. And some of them are really cute, and some of them are very heartfelt. Those were the ones that I liked. There was one, because humor is subjective, what one person finds funny, some people might not. And I mean, I get that some of them were meant to be a little bit more humorous, but the one that I liked, the one they were talking about, this family who were new to the U.S., because these are all from the U.S., and they came in to get library cards, and they were very, very excited. And there was a little girl, she was about 6 or 7, I think, and she was over in the stacks, and she's going through the books, and she's looking, and she's got like 2 books in her hands, and she can't decide. And the librarian comes up to her and says, "Oh, do you want to know which one?" And she says, "I can't decide which one to get." And the librarian says, "Well, why don't you get both of them?" And she says, "Oh, we can't afford that." And the librarian explained to her, "No, you can just take them home and read them and bring them back." And she was so thrilled. This little girl was so thrilled. And I just thought, oh, I love those kind of stories. They're just so heartwarming. Somebody discovering the love of reading through a library, I think is fantastic. So we had a great discussion over on Chloe's channel on yesterday, with Ashley, who is a librarian. She's also on BookTube. I will leave link to Chloe's video in the description box below, as well as to Ashley's channel, because she is fantastic and you need to watch her. But she talked a lot about what it is that librarians actually do. I think a lot of people have that persona that librarians, oh, if you love to read, become a librarian because you get to sit all day and read. And that's not at all what the job is like. So it was a very, very informative discussion, and I really enjoyed it. And this was a super cute book, and it's available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you want to go ahead and, borrow it and give it a quick read, like I said, it was a quick hour and a bit it took me to read through. It took no time at all, and it was really enjoyable, and I liked it. The next one that I finished was In Hot Pursuit by Geri Krotow. I gave this one 4 stars. This one was a NetGalley read, so actually I didn't realize at the time. The author herself contacted me and asked if I would be interested in a digital copy of her book to read and review. And I'm like, yes, please. And then I didn't realize I had it on NetGalley, but so I think she mentioned that she's going to add me to like her publicity team, kind of an idea. So I'm so stoked because I love her books. And so I did have this one from NetGalley, but also thank you to the author herself for sending me this. So of course the publisher was Harlequin. This did come out just this month in November. And it is book number 5 in the Colton 911 Grand Rapids series. Now, I have not read the 4 that came before it. And you're given enough information that you're not completely lost on this one, at least in my opinion. And this one was really interesting. This was Harlequin Romantic Suspense number 2111. So this is the story of Vicky and Flynn. And Vicky is a JAG officer. I don't remember what it stands for, what the acronym stands for. It's like military, is it military lawyers? Am I right on that? I remember my father used to love the TV show JAG. Just as something, I don't know. But anyway, she's a JAG officer. And Flynn also is in the Army, and I believe he's an MP. Now, your acronyms in the States are a lot different for your military than they are here in Canada. So I'm not sure what an MP is. I know here in Canada, if you said somebody's an MP, it means they're, you're a member of Parliament. That's what it means up here. So I'm not sure what that means. If somebody wants to correct me below or let me know what it means below, please do let me know. But he is one of those. So he has a half-brother who developed this supplement. As I was reading this, all I kept thinking was that Herbalife stuff, that he developed this supplement that is being marketed as like the best thing ever. You're going to lose weight. You're going to feel healthier. Your skin is going to be better, the whole 9 yards. And people are dying, or somebody has died. And now they are trying to track down his brother. But along with that, they are also trying to track down his CO, commanding officer. I do know what that is. A CO is commanding officer. There was a lot of technical details in this. If you are into military stuff, you will really like this, I think. So some of it I did find I was having to try and figure out what it was, like what the acronyms meant. But they were the author was really good, and she would kind of put that in there for all of us laymen who don't know. But anyway, the commanding officer guy, his wife was actually the one who died after taking this supplement. And he is going after Flynn because he thinks that Flynn knows where his brother is, and he wants to pretty much kill his brother because of his wife's death. So not only are they looking for the brother, but they are also being hunted by the CO guy. And it was really good, really, really action-packed. There's a great bit at the beginning that the two of them, there's a giant, it takes place in Michigan, in Chicago, no, Grand Rapids. Hello, this is the series title. And there's this huge, massive snowstorm, and they end up having to stay in this very, very fancy hotel while they're kind of waiting out this massive snowstorm, and it was kind of like that forced proximity thing. There is a bit of insta-love in this one, but it might be more of an insta-lust, and then as they work more together, it turns into something more, which is super cute. And yeah, I liked it a lot. I really, really did. It was a really fun story. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing, is that you wouldn't know it from the title or from the cover. This actually takes place right before the Christmas holidays. So it's like November into December is the time period. So if you're looking for like a romantic suspense novel for the holidays, but it isn't like overtly Christmas, clearly, you might want to check this one out because it was really, really fun and I really liked it. The next one that I finished was another Harlequin, and this was A Mistletoe Vow for Lord Lovell by Joanna Johnson. I gave this one 4 stars as well. This was is another NetGalley read, and it was published in October of 2020. So thank you again, Harlequin, for an e-art copy of this one to read. And this was Harlequin historical number, not wearing my glasses, 1534. So this is the story of, I think it's Orana, I believe it's how I'm going to pronounce it, and Isaac. And now it's really, really interesting. And the author says in her author's note that she did a lot of research on this. Now, this is actually an interracial couple that takes place in Regency times, which I kind of really loved. So she is the daughter of a white, she's the daughter. Her mother was the daughter of a plantation owner in Virginia, and her father is a freeman. A free slave. So she is of mixed race, and she met a man, an Englishman, who came from the UK, from England to America, and he met her, and he kind of really started to fancy her. I think more so because her family had money, like her mother's family had money. They had a plantation. They were very well to do. And he assumed that the daughter was going to get this money. So he marries her and brings her back to England. So she's away from her family in a country she doesn't even know as a mixed race person, which at the time, in England or anywhere really. And anyway, he then finds out that because her parents didn't like him. And it wasn't because of his race or anything like that. They just pretty much thought he was a jerk. And they were not wrong. And they were mad at her for marrying him. So they kind of stopped talking. And then, her parents kind of started to talk to her again. And are like, blah, blah, blah. But she pretty much said, you don't accept him. You don't accept me. I don't want any of your money. So she was, kind of standing up for herself. And she said no to any sort of inheritance that she would have gotten from her parents. Well, as soon as her husband realized that she no longer was going to be getting any money, he left her. So this is all, you find all this out at the very, very beginning of the book. So he takes off and he's gone for like 3 years. She is living in a rundown estate. She has one maid who kind of helps her out. She's running through any money that she had. And then one night, this Lord Lovell ends up showing up at her house in the middle of the night. She thinks he breaks in. He thought that nobody was even living there because of the disrepair that the house was in. And he's there to see her, to tell her that her husband died on his estate. Now, there are circumstances surrounding that to do with his ward, the 16-year-old girl, that this I had a very hard time with. That this man, this husband of hers, actually got the 16-year-old girl pregnant. And this girl, was having a very hard time dealing with it. So when Lord Lovell found out, because the husband, Frank, he was his friend, he ended up chasing him down, and then Frank had a heart condition, and Frank died. So he came to tell her that her husband's dead. So he agrees to take her back to where they are. It's like 150 miles or something like that away, to where his solicitors, the husband's solicitors, are. And it turns out that he has, of course, no money. He's gambled it away, and he's spent it in various places. So she has nothing. He even sold the home that she was living in. So she can't even go back there. So she ends up staying on at Lord Lovell or Isaac's house to help care for this 16-year-old girl named Charlotte in her pregnancy, because Charlotte seems to really want to open up to her. And of course, then the two of them end up having a relationship Orana. Her name is beautiful, but I cannot pronounce it. I do apologize. Honora. Orana, I think, and Isaac. So they end up having a relationship, and that's pretty much where the story goes from there. And it was so good. It was so, so good. I really, really liked it. It was very Christmassy without being overtly Christmassy. I do love Christmas historicals because I just love seeing how things used to be celebrated in a way. And yeah, I really like this one. I absolutely recommend it. Super, super cute book. Really enjoyed it. And then the last book that I finished this week was Unmentionable by Therese ONeill. This was The Victorian Lady's Guide to Sex, Marriage, and Manners. I was buddy reading this with Rainey over at Rainy Day Reads. She had not read this before. This was a reread for me for Nonfiction November. And I love this. I gave it 5 stars again. I just think this book is so delightful. If you have not read this one, you absolutely should pick it up. It's very tongue-in-cheek humor. The humor's not necessarily for everybody. And the way she talks to the reader, it's brilliant, because the entire premise of this book is that as if you as a modern woman ended up time traveling or like vacationing back in Victorian either England or the US. She kind of goes between both. And what it would have been like for you living at that time, because I think, and she starts off saying that we have a very fanciful notion of what it was like in Victorian times. And, yes, we know it wasn't easy, the modern medicine, indoor plumbing, stuff like that. Netflix didn't have any of those things back then. But it was still like, I think a lot of people have it in this like romanticized way of it being this very simpler time and an easier time, especially if you were a more well-to-do woman. We all read and love the historical romance novels. But to read this, if you are a fan of historical romance, you need to read this, because, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so going to open your eyes and make you look at historical romance a lot differently. And that's not a bad thing. I think having that extra knowledge is kind of fun, that, the way they would have actually lived and stuff like that. So yeah, really good. I know that there's an audio version of this, but I really do recommend that you read the print book if at all possible. There are a lot of different illustrations in here, and a lot of what else? Like, they're gorgeous. Look at that. Really, really nice. And there's old ads, like stuff that they would have trying to sell stuff and what have you. It's really, really fun. And there's chapters on all kinds of things. There's chapters on dress. There's chapters on what to expect when you get married, on how to not have children, how to deal with your husband. It was just, it's so interesting. Like, how to keep your home. It's just, I highly recommend it. This is the first book. This holds a special place in my heart as well, because Olive Book Olive talked about this one years ago. And it was when I first started watching her, and for Nonfiction November, and I'm like, oh, I don't like nonfiction. And then she talked about this book, and I'm like, okay, I think I might need to check that one out. And it was the very first book I ever read for Nonfiction November, and it holds a place on my shelf. I love it. I absolutely love it. I recommend it to everybody. So that is everything that I read this week, you guys. Very, very pleased with that. So what am I currently reading? So I am currently reading, I just want to make sure I get the author correct on this. So I'm just checking my Kindle Paperwhite. It is Debbie Mason. So I am reading Christmas on Reindeer Road by Debbie Mason. This is the second book in the Highland Valley series, I think is what it is. I've not read book number 1 yet, but I do have book number 1 from NetGalley, and I still haven't gotten to it yet. But this is the second book. So this is the story of Mallory and Gabe, and both of them are single parents. She is raising her 2 stepsons who are teenagers. I think one is 14 and one is 16. And then Gabe is a widower, and he's got 2 twin boys who I think are like 10, and then a 5 or 6-year-old other little boy named Teddy. So they knew each other. I guess they met in the first book that I haven't read yet. It's very Christmassy, very festive, very small town. There's kind of a lot going on. I'm about 50% of the way through this one, but I'll talk more about it next week in my weekly wrap-up or my weekly reads when I get it done. So yeah, so far I am enjoying it, and it's really super cute. So we are into all the Christmas books now, you guys. So the other one that I plan on starting today, my Harlequin book, is Christmas with the Best Man by Susan Carlisle. This is a medical romance, and I believe it's book 5 in the Christmas in Manhattan series. So there's the cover. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Even better, it's large print. So I could totally read this without my glasses, but I won't. I'll put my glasses on for reading it. But yeah, so I'm reading this one as well right now, and I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, no audiobook, you guys. So yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, the other thing I, of course, had to share with you guys. Duh. New from Netgalley. I got 3 new ones this week from Netgalley. And they're all from Harlequin. So thank you very much, Harlequin, for sending these to me. So the first one that I have is Agent Under Siege by Lena Diaz. This comes out on January 1st, 2021. I actually also, yes, I did. This I got an actual physical copy of this one as well. So I'm so super stoked about that one. Is that cover not gorgeous? Oh, I love it. So these are part of the ones that they're promoting for the month of January, and I will share those more. I'll share the other ones that I got when I do my Harlequin anticipated reads for the month of January. I will share those in that video. But yes, I did get that one in both ebook and physical book format. The next one is Her Banished Knight's Redemption by Melissa Oliver. This comes out on February 1st, 2021. This is a Harlequin historical, and I believe it's a medieval. Yeah, knights, stuff like that tend to be the more medieval period. They are not my favorite time period to read about with romance, but I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. And the last one is Unexpectedly Wed to the Officer by Jenni Fletcher. And this comes out actually on Christmas Eve on December 24th, 2020. I believe this is another historical, but I think it's a Regency or a Victorian. So yay on that one. Looking forward to it very much. So yeah, so that is it, you guys. Short and sweet video this week. Next week, hopefully I'll have more to talk about. The more I'm not listening to the audiobooks, I'm finding I'm reading faster. That was the other thing that I noticed, is that my actual physical reading, whether it be digital or a print book, had slowed down a bit, and I don't understand. I guess when you're relying on one, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get through some good chunk of books this week now that I'm kind of a bit more into it. And yeah, so chatty bits at the end. You guys are gonna laugh at me because I'm laughing at me. So sorry, hold on. So coffee from McDonald's. So as I mentioned last week, City of Toronto went on lockdown on Friday. And on the Thursday when I was at work, my manager had said to me, because I'm working from I'm working from home on Fridays. She's like, so take everything home in case we go into lockdown. So my brain said, oh, we're in lockdown on Friday. Guess I'm working from home going forward. So on Monday, I'm happily working away here at home. And one of my coworkers called me. He's like, yeah, I came by your desk, but you weren't there. And I'm like, we're in lockdown. I'm pretty sure we're not at the office. He's like, oh no, everybody's here. And I'm like, what? So I emailed my manager and I'm like, I am really sorry, but I totally misunderstood. So when I talked to her on Tuesday, she's like, don't worry about it. Stay at home. You know, everything's cool. Everything's fine. And we were having a good laugh about it. And I explained to her, and she totally understood. There was no issue with it, right? It was just kind of a funny misunderstanding, if you will. So yeah, so no, I am back in the office 3 days a week. I don't know if that's going to change again, whether she's going to say anything to me, because case counts are going up again. A lot. So right now, as of last week, I am working from home on Wednesdays and Fridays, and that's for the next while. And then, so like I said, I don't know what might change when I go into the office on Monday, whether she's going to extend that to being like, 3 days a week or something like that to keep us out of the office for, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's really about it that I have to share. Nothing else too terribly interesting has been going on around here, just working, and I've been doing some knitting. Everything I've been working on has been Christmas gifts, although no, I can't say that. I've been working on the shawl. I have 2 rows left to do on the shawl, so next week I will have that done to show you guys. That's one of my goals for today, is to get that done. And of course, next week starts the Advent, so I do hope that you guys are looking forward to that. I'm going to be filming a couple of those now. They are short and sweet, so it's going to be nice and easy. And I do have, like I said, a used book haul coming up on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I think, is going to be my wrap-up for the month, which will be super exciting. So yeah, anyway, I am rambling, you guys. I will let you go, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.